Live. I'm Russ Hockenberry, Digital Innovation Leader for Zone 3 Elementary Schools. Today I'm joined by Klondike Lane Elementary. I saw this stuff live in person on a CCV I did at Klondike Lane a few weeks ago, and I liked what they were doing so much. I was like, the whole district needs to see what's going on at Klondike Lane, and so we want to replicate this across the district. So Kim Bowman, Katie Wolf, Christy Harris, thank you for joining me today on JCPS Digital Learning. And if you're in the comments, if you're in the chat on YouTube, please feel free to leave some questions for us. Ladies, you can take it away and start screen sharing and kind of go over your awesome plan here.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us today to learn what we're doing here at Klondike with the Backpack of Skills. So last year was our, everybody's first year with the backpack. So we were just all trying to figure out what we were doing and, figuring it out as we went. It was new to, the kids as well as the teachers. We did use a lot of Amy Streit's ideas from Barrett. So she was very helpful with that. We were pleased with the feedback that we got from our teachers and our students and our panelists last year. So the screen you're seeing now is just different pictures of some of the things that we were trying last year. We, really tried to pump it up with the kids and make that first defense feel, really special and really important. We set it up almost like as they were going to an interview. So what you see at the top of the screen is the student defense of learning, their appointment card. So each student had an appointment time to go do their defenses, and then you see to the far right, students would sit outside and wait for their turn to go in. Another thing we tried was we wanted to make sure when teachers were scoring the first defenses that we were calibrated. So we held like kind of a mock defense at first. We had a couple of students just come in and practice with us. So that's what you see at the top right of your screen, just teachers. We were just practicing scoring, making sure we all understood what we were doing, getting on the same page. So that was really successful just in coming up with common scores. Then
so if I can interrupt you there, one thing, when I go to all these different Zone 3 schools, I always drop your guys' names. So I'm like, Klondike Lane, they have every grade level defend. So it makes people nervous. But it's really awesome. I see there a picture up top, and you've got second graders, second graders defending.
Yes, we had K through 5 they all did 3 defenses last year. Say something.
Well, the picture there at the top, that is a second grade teacher, or is that kindergarten teacher? But she had those kids in second grade. So whenever our 5th graders to finish their defense, they had their picture taken, and then they got to go tell one teacher from their past that they passed, and just like show that they were proud of themselves and talk to another teacher that they had instead of just their 5th grade teacher. But you're right, we did do K through 5, 3 defenses last year, and are repeating that this year.
Well, that's exciting too, because I don't know if you guys take a look at the showcase feature this year where they can request feedback from anybody, either a second grade teacher or a kindergarten teacher or a teacher they had at a different school. So you guys can use that showcase feature to have them request feedback of those former teachers as well. So very cool.
Yeah, we'll definitely use that.
And then at the bottom of the screen, we made magnets for the kids, and they could go post those on their lockers once they passed their defense. It just says, I defended my learning. And then we took their picture. We have our defense ready bulletin board, just, as another way to showcase their success and make them feel, really special about what they did. They were the first group to go. So, we all know we had a learning curve, but I think for the first year, they did a really good job with it. So then that just led us into reflecting, that's how we grow, is just we reflect on what we did and how we wanted to make it better. One thing we noticed just through the different kids presenting was just how cookie cutter they all seemed. We just wanted them to really speak from their heart about their learning. And we kind of wanted this year to see a lot more creativity from the kids and just that their defense presentations are unique to them and who they are. So at the top of this screen, if any resource that we came up with last year, we've attached that link. It says Klondike Backpack Plan. So you can click on that, and it'll take you to the link where all of our documents are that we used. So it just led us to sit down at the end of the year. We came up with our, things that we wanted to improve on this year. This is just a list of things that we created that are tight, that we are making sure that we're doing and implementing, and then things that are loose. There's some things on the loose side that we are trying out this year and see how it goes. Some of those things we could move over to the tight, but we'll see how it goes this year.
And you mentioned that the cookie cutter nature of it last year, and that was just across the board in JCPS.
Yeah.
First year with the backpack, we would see the same artifacts in every kid's defenses. And this year, it's more about student choice.
Yes.
What was really cool about doing your guys' CCB was when you would ask kids, about their backpack artifacts, they're like, I made the choice. I made this choice. It wasn't so much the teacher was saying, put this in your backpack. The kids are making choices, and there was real student choice involved. And that's what's so cool about what you guys are doing at Klondike Lane. So
yeah, and we just want to continue to grow there, that they have a greater number of choices. We felt a little limited in the choice they had. So, just that all year long, really from the beginning of the year, that they're thinking of how this learning experience, if I want to showcase that and put that artifact in my backpack, we just don't want to wait to the end of the year and then all of a sudden it's defense time, so we all have to scramble and get ready. We really want it authentic. We want it ongoing all year. We want the kids, really making those decisions. So we're just working towards that goal. So then we sat down. What you're looking at now is just our Klondike timeline.
And we sat down after defenses in May and kind of made our tight and loose, and then shared this with the staff when we came back in August.
Yeah. So then this is our timeline. And we shared this with teachers also when they came back, just really kind of laying out the year and making sure there was more focus on us working on this all year. And it can't wait till April and then, all of a sudden put it all together. But like I said, we were learning. We did our best. We're going to grow and do better this year, and we'll grow and do better next year. So as you're looking at some of the months, what we laid out, we just made sure Katie's going to go and explain in a lot more detail the things on our timeline. But we had, a field trip. We have bulletin boards all around our school that showcase artifacts of students. September we have things laid out. And really this timeline, like I said, was just to make sure we're working on it all year long and not just waiting till the end to get it put together.
So let me ask you this. So with your defenses last year, as far as panelists go, were other grade level teachers able to sit in on the 5th grade defenses?
Some did.
Okay.
I know some 4th grade teachers did, and some others might have. I'm not 100% sure, but I know some chose to. It wasn't a scheduled panelist. They would just drop in as their time allowed.
Okay.
We are working to do a better job with panelist scheduling this year, and also providing panelists for our K through 4s when we didn't last year. Because last year, this is kind of off topic, but when our K through 4s were defending, they were defending to their teachers who had provided the instruction. So it's kind of hard to defend something to somebody who helped you through it. And it's easier to defend it to someone who has no prior knowledge of what you've done. So you can give them a true summary of, this is what we were learning about. These are the activities that we did. This was the artifact I put in. When you're telling the teacher that designed that instruction, she kind of already knows. So we're going to work on getting different panelists, not homeroom teachers, in on those.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And so you might wonder why we're dressed like this. We don't do this every day, and it's not Halloween yet. We just wanted to encourage more backpack discussions than we did last year. We wanted kids using those words, because even in our defenses last year, kids were stumbling over prepared and resilient learner, and we didn't want that to be the case. We want them knowing the skills. We want them talking about the skills daily. So we decided to dress up as official field guides and take them on field trips where we used binoculars to search for our backpack bulletin boards. There are 5 bulletin boards around the school, and they were pretty bare to start the year with. They just had kid-friendly language about what the skill was, and we took them on tours. We had tour signs, and we looked for all of them, and we just kind of reflected on last year. What did you do for this skill? What did you put in your backpack last year for this skill? What have you already done this year that might go in? And then what do you anticipate doing this year for this skill? We also want them to know that backpack skills aren't just artifacts. They are things that are good life skills, and that we're doing in everyday instruction, everyday interactions, and that every time we do a backpack skill, it doesn't have to become an artifact, but it's all helping us with good learning experiences. So we took them around the school and we charged them with helping us fill these bulletin boards. And this is one of the changes that we made from last year. We kind of asked teachers to give us artifacts, and I don't know if teachers didn't want to brag on themselves or just time constraints, but we didn't really get a lot on the bulletin boards. So we've now put it on the students to send us artifacts to put on these boards, and I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. Once we got back to the classrooms after the field trips, we modeled how to use Showcase and how it was at that point. I know there's been some changes, and how to use the dashboard feature, and we kind of looked over map skills, attendance, behavior, so that they knew those things were available from day one.
Very cool. And so you guys, yeah, if you could go back to your slide there with your field trip around the school. So that's in August. You guys are doing that. So you started off the year doing this, which is great.
We tried to do it in the first 2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah. And the really cool thing about that is it's like the backpack. What Cheryl Bibby, the deeper learning resource teacher for Zone 3, we were talking about at the CCV, is like you guys do a great job of the backpack living and breathing at Klondike Lane, and it doesn't just exist online in the digital world. So it's like you ask somebody, it's like, tell me about the digital backpack, and they're like, yeah, it's in Google, but like you guys, it's everywhere at Klondike Lane, which is really cool. So thank you. I just wanted to say that.
Good. Thank you. So like I said, since we didn't get a lot of feedback last year from teachers, we decided to charge the students with getting us either reflections or the actual artifacts. So on every Chromebook cart, we have a QR code and directions on how to get the artifact to one of the three of us. They can either share it with us or tag us in a comment. The QR code is a video of me teaching students that was sent out through Google Classroom, so students can send us any of their artifacts at any point, and we'll print it out and put it on there. We also had our broadcast team remind students to add items to the backpacks.
Hey, Klondike, this is Cheyenne and Andrea. And don't forget to write your backpack activities on this backpack and then stick it inside of this backpack in the cafeteria. And also, don't forget to recommend a model for the student spotlight.
So the student spotlight that she's talking about is we also have a student spotlight on Tuesday where teachers or students can recommend somebody who had a great artifact or was using a backpack skill proficiently, and we highlight them on Tuesdays on our broadcast. And we also wanted kids to know, like, you could just write a reflection on, Ms. Harris and I collaborated on something today during math. Like, we want them using the language. That was really our biggest push, is using the skill language so that they understand what the skills are. And then our principal also gives a weekly student communication on Friday through our KLAB broadcast. And so he also is encouraging students to talk about backpack. And I was going to show that.
I'm challenging you to be respectful in front of all of our guest teachers when we have somebody in the building who is not your homeroom or classroom teacher. Other than that, make sure we're adding to our backpack. The backpack's going to be coming around here, making sure that we're putting authentic artifacts in there. So again, challenge all students to be thinking about the backpack at all times. I challenge you to ask your teacher, where does this fit in my backpack? So ask them that every day. Again, a lot of opportunities coming up too. Part of our school vision, developing the pride in our school community. A lot of clubs starting. That's Yay, Science Club, it could be a reading club. Cheerleading trials are coming out, so get involved. Other than that, kudos to our broadcast team. Have a great next week, and thank you.
And so you can see this is a picture of our bulletin boards as they are now. We're hoping to get them completely filled up. And in November on Gold Day, we are going to be doing a high quality student work protocol on the work that we've been putting on the backpack or on the bulletin boards.
Very good.
So another thing that we charge the students with, we just want them talking backpack skills all the time and thinking about what they're doing. So after we finished the field trip and we looked in their backpack, and when we went back to the classrooms, we were like, log onto your backpack, look at the artifacts you put in last year. And the kids really loved that. They were like, I think it really clicked with them when they got to see their artifacts from last year, stuck with them in their new grade and in this new Chromebook. And they don't really understand that yet. And so them seeing their artifacts from the previous year was kind of important to them. So we also put these posters in each room with each backpack skill. And this is where students can just say, like, hey, Miss Livingston, we were being innovative when we came up with this. Let's go write that up there. So it might just be something that happened in the classroom and it's not even a planned experience, or it could be, just getting them talking about those skills and noticing when they use those skills and adding them up to the charts. And then we also we started this last year, but we've kind of changed it a bit this year. With our learning targets, we're attaching the backpack skill that it correlates with. Last year, our colors and our logos did not match, and so we've ordered from Productions new magnets to match the posters. But teachers have been using them, and if a teacher forgets, a student's always quick to be like, oh, we're collaborating, let's stick that up there.
That's so smart, and it's something. Since I saw that at your school, I look for that at every other school that I go to. Like how they're framing that lesson, and like how you guys have got those magnets right up next to the the we will, and it's brilliant, and every school should be doing something like that. So that's kudos on that.
Thanks. And something else that we were doing, so this kind of was on our loose side. We also found that students just can't talk about themselves really well. Like when they got up to do their defenses, it was very cookie cutter. They were going off the script. They couldn't tell us how they learned best. So instead of the traditional all about me slides or all about me bags that teachers typically do in August to get to know your class, every staff member and student at Klondike did an all about me slide and shared them with their class. All of the staff is hanging in the front lobby so that when any stakeholder comes in, they can get to know the staff personally just through looking at their all about me slide. And the students shared on their student life conference back last week. So they just had to talk about themselves personally, which is easier to do. Then we challenged our 3rd through 5th graders to think about themselves a little more deeply, like how do I learn best? And so we used our restorative practice work in circles and just kind of talked about how do you learn best, and students identified, and you can see in this top picture, they put a post-it with what they identified with. And then they were to make a slide to tell their teacher and themselves how they learn best. And we felt like this was important because last year when students would talk about their MAP goals, all they would be able to say is, I'm going to practice or I'm going to work harder. And we wanted to make more specific goals and more specific plans with students of exactly what are you going to do. And if I know that you work better in a group, you're going to say, I'm going to work in a group or with a peer. Or if I know you work better by yourself, like what exactly are you going to do? So just getting them to know themselves better as a learner has been a goal for us as well.
Yeah, absolutely. About the MAP goals, that's something you notice. Like kids would say, like I'm a 220 reader, and then they'd say, like, well, I'm going to work harder. So yeah, exactly. To get them to expand upon that and actually have a plan, and really what those numbers mean. That's important.
So this slide just displays every kid K to 5 has a student data notebook. So those are just some different examples of what the different grade levels look like. Each grade or teacher could choose what their student data notebook looked like. So since we are not one-to-one, some of our teachers decided to do digital data notebooks, and then others are just paper notebooks. But they're able to keep their MAP scores, their backpack artifacts. So when a kid uploads an artifact to their backpack, they also track it in their student data notebook just to have that awareness and just for students to keep a pulse on, okay, what have I uploaded to my backpack, even if they're not on a Chromebook or something digital, to see how many artifacts they have. And then at the bottom there, teachers have a virtual student data wall that they put, reading levels, all kinds of things. But one thing that they do put in is the backpack skills. So we put some dates there just as a reminder, to make sure that this is an ongoing experience and to make sure that we're incorporating this into our instruction. So that's just in there, the teacher data wall, just as another way to keep a pulse on how we're doing with the backpack skills.
So you guys mentioned you're not one-to-one. Could you just mention your current access level? As far as, is it like a cart per grade level?
We have a cart per grade level, and then we have 2 teachers who had gotten carts through Donors Choose, and we have 3 that are just being checked in by our STC that are going to be divided out. So
and then we also have a lab.
And we have a lab. We're getting close.
Yep, absolutely. And I've used Rebecca Reynolds before as an example of, she got a cart, donorschoose.org, when she was a 1st grade teacher, and then she carried it over to 2nd grade last year. No, she's in a different role this year. But she's
using technology and PE right now. She's amazing.
Yeah, so it's you think about like she's been a great example for our kindergarten, first and second grade teachers of Google in the backpack is very possible with primary students.
So these are just kind of our 3 next steps that we are currently working on. The first one is the student backpack support crew. So that's a picture of them on the right there. So they are our backpack crew. And what we've charged them to do is teachers, students can use that QR code, and they can put in if they need, if a student needs help uploading an artifact, if a teacher or something's going on with technology in their classroom, they scan that link, and then the backpack crew is going to meet each morning, and they're going to address those issues. So whether it be to help a staff member or if it's to help a student, that's kind of their job, is to help with the technology issues or just support our staff and students within the building. So we're starting that actually on Monday, the 21st. So they're all ready to go with their badges. So staff know that they can be roaming around the building supporting our teachers and students. The next thing is we are just starting an AIC monthly backpack newsletter that Ms. Bowman is going to start. And this just is going to include some backpack resources or PBL resources, maybe upcoming due dates or things on the horizon. It may include writing tips, but it's just another way to communicate to our staff, what's coming, or just give them some extra resources that they can use to help support the backpack. And then the last thing is just with MAP, kids being domain-specific goals for the prepared and resilient learner success skill. So teachers have the MAP proficiencies in their classroom hanging up so that kids know what their goal is. The 3 times we take MAP. And it also has the domain. So we really are asking teachers, and this is kind of just getting started, asking teachers when they talk about their learning target to also connect it to a domain with MAP so that kids can learn that language as well. Mm-hmm. And so we want them to tie their lesson frame to the domain in MAP. And then with our kids, instead of speaking overall writ, like I'm a 222, what exactly does that mean? Well, this is my score in this specific domain, and these are the specific things that I'm going to work on in that domain. So really just having kids break down their goals and figure out what specifically can they do to get better.
So with your student backpack support crew, did you guys mention like what grade level that is? Is that 4th, 5th grade or 5th grade?
They're 4th and 5th graders who had applied to be in the broadcast team, but due to transportation concerns, they couldn't participate, so we picked them.
Oh, that's, great. Equity.
It's when their bus gets here, they show up. Perfect. So it's kind of as you get here, no set time.
Excellent. Yeah, I know Steve Durham, who works with our student backpack teams, he'll be interested to know about this. So you guys pretty much covered it all. You talked about the magnets that I saw in every classroom with framing the lesson, which is great. And now you can actually see how they're dressed. You guys had the slideshow up there, so you mentioned that. And they're like, "What are they talking about?" So you see how they're on the backpack safari there. So
we just want to make it memorable for kids, because when you do something novel and just like they remember it better.
Absolutely, it makes it more concrete for the kids. I really hope that a lot of schools will watch this and kind of get some ideas, because this is year 2 of the backpack, and it's still kind of in its infancy. And so it's just amazing what myself and Cheryl saw at your school when we walked through. And so
thank you.
And kudos to you guys. And thank you for leading the way on this. It's excellent.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. And I look forward to getting your school in January. So to work with you guys on that build day. So that is all today for JCPS Digital Learning Live. Our next show is actually today at 4:30 with Mike Ice, the assistant principal at Lincoln Elementary, and he's going to talk about his producers, which is something really cool. They do it's their morning announcements, but they do it through Periscope on iPads, and the kids actually are filming with iPads. So really cool. So thank you guys. Thanks Klondike Lane for joining us today, and we'll see you next time. Bye guys.
Bye.